What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Back to reality. Back to life. Back to reality. Back to reality. I need to get those wipes for the camera because my screen is always blurry. I'm sorry. The blur is blurring. Um, yeah, but anyways, back to reality. It's funny I'm saying back to reality because reality TV is not really reality, but back to the reality of what I talk about on this channel, which is reality TV. My first Big Brother event is the topic today. And it's funny because when I talked about that event at that time, that was my most popular video on my channel for all the wrong reasons, and I didn't know why. And I really thought that it was because I was just becoming a popular vlogger, that people were just starting to catch wind of, not knowing that 70 to 75% of the people who caught that video were just people who saw clipped footage of one particular part of the video. Clip footage of one particular part of that video and took it out of context and ran with it. And some of y'all know that story and some of y'all don't, but I'm going to break down the story and the aftermath because I have 30 minutes till I get to my next client. A little under 30 minutes, but long enough. And I choose to put this on instead of putting on music in the car sometimes, just so I can connect with y'all. Okay, so here's how it went. I was sitting down one evening. I had followed a good chunk of the Big Brother 23 cast. One of those people that I had followed was Derek Frazier from Big Brother 23, the second place finisher, and the great Joe Frazier's son, and one of the funniest and most entertaining people I've ever seen or met. Honestly, he's so funny in person also. So I saw him posting his Instagram story. Hi Cass, hi Sender. I saw him posting it was at nighttime too, and this was in Philly. It was nighttime. It was probably about 6 p.m. or so when I even saw this post. And it was like, come celebrate Big D's birthday party at such and such location in Philly, which again is a good 2 hours drive from me. So I considered whether I was going to go or not. And honestly, I wasn't going to go just because of Big D being there, but then I think that I saw on his flyer, Hannah and Tiffany were on his flyer. So I was like, oh, that would be pretty cool that I can meet half of the cookout in one night. So I did decide to just hop in my car, get my clothes together, hop in the car, shoot over to Philly. And again, I say shoot over to Philly like it's a quick thing, but no, it's a little distance to get to Philly from me. So I went over. It was in this like hole in the wall type of spot, which surprised me because when I went to challenge events, they were at bigger spots. So I just kind of assumed that all fan type of events took place in those type of spots, but no, this was a small spot. And Big Brother season 24 had just ended. So I got in there. I was in there for about an hour before I saw anybody that I knew from any show. And then Big D walked in. Everybody started cheering. He went around. He greeted everybody. I was like, yo, Big D, what's up? I'm a big fan of your season, the cookout. You're so funny. He said whatever he said. Thank you for coming. He gave me a hug. Then after, I think sometime after Tiffany and Hannah showed up. Then a whole bunch of other people that I didn't know were coming showed up, like Polly Calafiore, or some people call him cauliflower. I don't know where that came from. Maybe from someone who can't pronounce his last name. I'm probably not even pronouncing. No, it's not cauliflower. Survivor people. There was a good mix, but those are mainly the people that I knew. I knew the Big Brother people. Oh, Azza. Azza was there. Big D, Tiffany, Hannah. And then some Survivor people. James from season 44 of Survivor, I think. He was there. Hi, Ma. And then towards later on, Taylor and Joseph came in there. And this was the part that everyone made controversial for me. But I'm going to go through what happened before I even got to that point. So everybody went into the VIP section because there was this VIP section in the back that not everyone could go to. It was mainly just for cast and I guess like close friends of cast or people who knew the cast, so they could get in the back. So I was on the floor, I was on the main floor, waiting to speak to people. So Big D was like upstairs and down the stairs all night. He was in the VIP section and he was out of the VIP section because he was catering to both crowds. Hannah and Tiffany stayed up in the VIP section for a little bit. They were interacting with the crowd from the VIP section, but then eventually they came down on the floor. I spoke to Tiffany briefly, and Tiffany, I was like, Tiffany, I love you, but I was rooting for Xavier to win, and then she kind of was joking with me. And then after speaking to Tiffany, I went to speak to Hannah. And when I went to speak to Hannah, I had specific things that I wanted to ask her. Because I think I've mentioned this before, but after going to challenge events and having the experience of wanting to talk to somebody, and then I get out 2 words and then they move on, I'm like, let me try to figure out something to say that is quick and I can get an answer from in the event that they only talk to me for a brief amount of time. So what ended up happening was I asked her some questions about a podcast. I asked her some questions about vlogging and some questions about podcasting, because at the time I was still a very new vlogger especially when it came to reality TV stuff, because Big Brother 24 was the first season of the show, of any show that I had covered, and it had just ended. So she gave me some tips and she gave me some pointers, and I thought that she was going to walk away after I finished asking her my 2 or 3 questions. So when I was done asking her my questions, she was still standing here. So I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? Freestyle? So I had to freestyle. I had to come up with some more questions, because I'm like, if she's just going to stand here indefinitely, then I'm going to ask her questions indefinitely until she walks away. So we ended up having a good 10 to 15 minute conversation, and anyone who's gone to any of those fan events knows that getting one person to stop and speak to you for that amount of time is a long time. And it wasn't just that she was doing that with me, it's that she was doing that with everybody. She greeted every fan. She had long conversations with everyone who wanted to speak to her. And Big D also, he was like that also. I just had less to speak about with him, but he was back and forth all night. Let's see. So Taylor, I did get to speak to. I spoke to her for what, 5 minutes or so. And when I saw her, I was like, I'm a big fan. I was rooting for you all season. I told her that I was happy that she won. I showed her a shirt that I had made that said, I am the point. I told her about my YouTube page where we were watching her the last night of the season, the last night of the feeds, drinking her wine glass and preparing that epic speech that she delivered. I told her she inspired me. I told her I had some shared experiences with her because of some bullying that I remember in school. And she was like, thank you. I got a picture. But what I said, which is the truth, is that this whole conversation took place where she was standing up in the VIP section and I was on the main floor, and I was talking to her and she was responding to me, but I was just on the main floor and she was in the VIP section. That's all I said. Nothing more, nothing less. I even provided that her and Joseph possibly stayed up there because they had just come off the show and they were reintegrating back into society. So they probably didn't want to come down much, because I know they did come down at some point. I just didn't see when that was. They didn't come down much because they probably wanted to just enjoy their evening. And they were still together at that time. So they were kind of enjoying each other's company. So that was that. I spoke to Polly for a while. I told him that unlike most people, I liked him. At that point in time, I had not seen his season. So I was going solely off of challenge Polly. And I still like Polly after seeing his season, but I can understand why some people would not. I spoke to Cinco for a while. that was a fun conversation. I spoke to Azza, and it's funny because I didn't even really know what to say to Azza, because when I talk to people about things from these shows, it's typically about gameplay stuff. So I'm like, what gameplay things can I think of with Azza? Not much. So we didn't talk much, but the reason I say it's funny is because now Azza hosts Big Brother events. And so before I leave, I always have a good conversation with her. Now that she knows me. So that was it. That was my first Big Brother event. I had a really good time. The internet tried to cook me afterwards because they shared clips on Reddit, which I didn't find out till way later, of me talking about Taylor not coming down that much from the VIP section. And I don't know how they tried to spin it, but like, people were giving me angry comments, DMs. They were saying crazy things. They were looking for me on Instagram, all kinds of things. I truly almost quit doing this just because of that reaction. But now, being 3 years in, there's kind of nothing that I'm not really prepared for, because I experienced the worst in year one. So that was my first event, my Throwback Thursday story. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank you.